content creator is that it takes a lot of effort, thought, and it just can be hard sometimes, especially if you're running your own business, or hey, if you're working for someone and trying to run your own content on the side, or maybe even if you're trying to run content for your small business. This is a very hard thing to do because it takes a lot of time and effort. And that's the thing that's really difficult. And so I just want to go through today how you can put together a plan to make sure you're running content consistently. And I just want to talk about some of the struggles that I've had with it too. So yeah, so hopefully you are ready for that. I'm excited to share with you my thoughts about this because honestly, it has taken a lot of time to be able to put this together and to understand it. And by the way, all of us have issues with this. So let me just tell you a story. So way back when I first started my business in 2002, I had moved all the way from Washington, D.C., and I was like working at, a regular job. I was a director of communications for a trade association in Washington, D.C., and I got married and moved to San Antonio. And when I moved to San Antonio, I thought, hey, I've always wanted to start my own, business. I want to be a consultant. I thought my husband and I were going to have kids. So maybe it'd be good to start that consultancy right at that moment. Lots of reasons to do it, obviously, because in the end of the day, we were also going to have, you know, kids. And I told you, like, that's really the thing. I was just trying to figure it out. And he was working a regular job. He had health insurance. I mean, there was just a lot of reasons to start it at that point in time. The problem was I didn't know anybody. And I'm going to tell you, your network is everything when it comes to growing your business. And so, luckily, I did have my old job had said, "Hey, why don't you continue to um, do the magazine or edit the magazine that I was putting together?" I was doing a magazine for the trade association that I had started, and they said, "Hey, why don't you just continue editing that for us?" So really cool to be doing a job like that, a virtual distance job in 2002. Very unusual, very cool that they were willing to try and do that. And so that's what I did. So I started there. And while I did that, blogging was starting to be a thing. Mostly people were writing about their lives and what they did day to day. And I didn't feel super comfortable with that. But so I started a blog about public relations and social media and the intersection of the two. And there were a couple of bloggers back then, people that you probably know. Chris Brogan, of some of you who know him, Anne Hanley, Scott Baradell, who you may or may not know who that is anymore, but Rohit Bhargava, who I met with last night. So this was like this small, tight-knit group of bloggers. And how did we get tight-knit? We commented on each other's blog posts. So why I'm telling you that is because a lot of this is about building a community around your brand. Social media is awesome, but social media is a vehicle to grow your community and grow the people that you are going to be working with. So that is kind of where we're at. So with that in mind, I'm going to share my screen with you and give you a couple of ideas that I put together for today, just to kind of get us there so that we can get you to that point where you're creating consistent content so that you too can grow a community that supports your business, that supports whatever it is you're trying to do, your nonprofit, your business, whatever it is you're trying to get going. So that is kind of how it started for me, content. So that's the deal. So reasons why we don't create content. Okay, so tell me if this is true. And if you're here and you have another reason, put it in the comments. But these are the ones that were mostly mine, I guess, the ones that I feel like kept me from creating a lot of content. Number one was I was doing all or most of the jobs inside of my business, like all of it, like everything. So that includes, billing, that included banking, figuring out the finances, going out there and trying to get clients, servicing the clients, and the whole shebang. And the problem with this is at first, it's definitely the way you have to go. But you need to start thinking almost immediately about how you can spread that love. So either you need to, shorten what you do or, constrain what you do, or you need to find some help. So I'll talk about that here in a minute. But the other thing was creating everything from scratch. So like I would sit down and think, oh, what am I going to blog about today? Like, today. So the idea is that If you do that, it is going to be hard and you're going to hit a road bump because you may be able to do it for a while. I was blogging at least once a week. That was great. But like I was always thinking about what am I going to blog about next? What am I going to blog about next? The problem with that is that you are going to hit a road bump. Something's going to life happens. So we'll talk about how to fix that here in a minute. The third one is feeling fear, overwhelm, or obligation. I put this all in the same lines because that's the reasons you don't create. You're in your feelings in one way or another. You're in your feelings for fear. I sometimes was worried about what people would think about me coming on here, like, and they'll say, "Oh, what an idiot! She's on here, like, talking about things. Like, who does she think she is?" I mean, I was worried about my peers judging me. I was worried about so many things with creating content. The second thing was overwhelm. Like, so exactly this is whenever you're doing a lot of things. If you're doing all or most of the jobs, you're gonna feel overwhelmed when it comes to content creation because it's just like, ugh, it's another thing on your to-do list, and your to-do list is already really long and it's rough. And then obligation is the other one. And that's when you just think, I know I need to do this. I know I must do this. And then you don't do it because you just, I don't know, you just feel like uninspired, bored, whatever. So that's another one. And then that last one is uninspired. So when you're feeling that obligation and all of that, or you're feeling uninspired, you're just not going to create the content that you should be creating, right? So that's where we're at with that. So those are the reasons that I feel like are what most people are the reasons that they have. And if you're watching this in replay or now, please feel free to put into the comments if you think there's something else that keeps you from doing it. I think the word I would say is I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I think that was the overwhelm. That's what I mean. Being in your feelings is part of this, is that feeling that you can't get it done. So overwhelm is a huge one, right? And uninspired can happen too. Like you can just be like, I don't have anything to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to bring to this conversation. So those are the things. So then the problem is, of course, let's say you do start to get your content house in order and you start to blog or you start to post or you start to do videos like live streams like this. Then you know what happens? I'll give you one guess. When things pick up in the business, we stop showing up. That's the bottom line. I've seen it time and time again. I've done it. I did it. Actually, the last couple of weeks have kind of been like that. I haven't been online because I've been traveling. I've been doing all kinds of things. So when our business starts to pick up, we started new clients. We're busy with like onboarding them. And even when I was talking to my team, they said, "Hey, we put Smart Social Secrets on the sidelines for a couple of weeks." And I kind of knew you would want us to do that to get this other thing launched. And I said, "Yes, absolutely. You have to get the thing launched." So also forgiving yourself, like consistency is important, but it's not like the end of the world if you miss a week. However, it is the end of the world if you don't pick it up again. So you have to pick it up again. You can't just put it down and think, I've put it down. It's like when you're dieting and you cheat a little bit and you're like, oh, I've cheated. Now I'm off the diet. I'm done, right? I'm just going to eat whatever. I ate a candy bar last night, so I'm thinking about diet. So that is the deal. You have to think about that. Like when you put it down, you can't beat yourself up. So you have to have a plan to get back on track. And if you have a plan, it's pretty easy to pick it back up. Like, for example, this particular episode, I've had this plan for a while. It just was sitting down there, like, and I kind of put it off for a couple weeks. But yeah, I was able to kind of put it together pretty quickly and just bring it to you today. But you have to have a plan in order to do that, right? So that's the key. So that's the issue right there. You want to make sure that you have a plan. So let's go into that. Let me kind of go to my next slide because I think you're probably asking, well, yes, those are the things I'm like suffering from. So how can I fix that? How can I fix that, Cami? That is a very good question. How can you fix that? Well, I have some ideas for us. Step one, I mean, I have a couple of steps. I have 4. Okay. So the first one, honestly, is something has to give. You need white space. My husband always says this to me. He said this to me from like when we first met. I was like doing so many things. And he said, "Hey, like when we get married, are you going to continue to do all of those things?" um, and I didn't. I pulled back a little bit. So I had time with him, right? So we had some white space. So you need to have white space, and I'll tell you why. One of the things, let me give you an example. So one of the things that really works for me is when I'm taking a shower and the water's running down and I'm just kind of enjoying it. I can have amazing ideas in the shower. But a couple of years ago, I started to listen to like podcasts and I put a little speaker up and I'd listen to the podcast while I'm showering. Guess what? No ideas. You need white space. You need to have time, like when you're out on a walk, when you're taking a shower, when you're just sitting around thinking, writing, journaling. That's never been my thing, but journaling, some people love that to get ideas. The point is, you need some white space in order to have the ideas that you need to get. And that's hard when you have a business. So you need to find some space in your calendar and put it in your, well, we'll talk about putting it on your calendar here in a minute, but that's number one. You have to give yourself some white space. That is how ideas come. That is how you're going to be great. And one of the great ways to think about that, you're like, but Cami, yes, I know I need white space. I agree. But the problem is, I'm so busy. Like, I don't really know where I'm going to fit white space in. Have you seen my calendar? I'll show you mine here in a minute. You'll see what I mean. Have you seen my calendar? Um, so yeah, I get that. I get that. But one of my favorite things to use is this idea. This is the Eisenhower matrix. I don't know if you guys know what the Eisenhower matrix is, but it's really about deciding what's important, what's not urgent, and what's urgent, and putting them in the square. So like, say you have a to-do list. I want you to take that to-do list and mark it as decide, do, delegate, and delete. So you can do it in any kind of format you want, on paper, in an electronic calendar, on a Trello board, whatever. But this right here will help you to decide what you can do. So when I first started thinking like this, and I was thinking I probably needed an administrative assistant, I needed somebody to help me. Um, I was thinking, well, what am I going to have them do? Like, how can I let go of things? And it's still hard for me to let go of things. My team is often saying to me, "Cami, let go of things," and it's difficult for me because I like things a certain way and I want things a certain way, and because it's my business, I want it to be at a certain quality level, and even if it's the same a good quality level, it's just like I have these ideas, right? So how do we take all of the things we have to do and also open that up so that other people can help us? By the way, you can even do it with a partner. So Madeline Sklar and I had a podcast for 2 years, and we would work together. Like, she would do all the editing of the podcast, and I would help with all the content creation side, like coming up with the ideas. We do that together, but I'd put them all into order. So and then do all of the notes afterwards and put all the notes on the website and that kind of stuff. So the point is that you can have, it doesn't have to be somebody you pay even. It can be a partner. It can be an administrative assistant. So one of the ways that I immediately got an administrative assistant, and I started to be able to afford her, is I looked at my client work. So let me just pull this up again. So for example, I had her start doing some of my client work. Some of the more repetitive parts of it, like putting things together and organizing it and so on. And because that was there, we could bill, that could be part of my billing. So I was billing her out basically, and she became a subcontractor to me for my clients. And that is how I started to pay for her, because I would take that. And then of course, when you bill somebody out, it's a little bit more than you actually pay that person, because that's how it works in a business. We can talk more about how to run your business later, but you're going to have to mark that up a little bit, like 20%, 15, 20%, maybe more. Some people double it, but I like to pay people what they're worth. So often don't do a complete doubling in my business. But the point is that you're going to want to give some of that work to somebody on your team who is maybe gets a little bit less than you do, but also frees up your time. It frees up your time. It actually makes you better for your clients too, because you have more time to think about their strategy on this Eisenhower matrix. So you can see, for me, I come up with content ideas. I do outreach to clients. I do my client strategy, my thought leadership, I respond on social. My team posts for me, but I respond because it's about me and my relationships with people in my stuff. So I also post sometimes, like on the fly, like when I'm out and about, but generally speaking, I'm trying to like put space in my calendar so I can do the high quality, high value things for mine. And for me, that's always about relationships. That's top of my mind. I can do, and sales are part of that too, because I do the sales for our company. But the sales to me are relationships. I don't think of sales as sales. And I have a whole bunch of videos on how to do sales inside of your business if you have an agency or a consultancy like I do. But even if you're not doing a consultancy, even if you're inside of your company, like what is it that you can slough off and say, these are low value and we shouldn't be doing them anymore? You want to think of things that you're going to keep doing, do more of, and stop doing. Always be considering what you should stop doing, because I think, that's the thing. And I tend to be a person that takes something on and never lets it go. I've been running Social Media Breakfast of Houston for 15 years here in Houston. Started it with Jennifer Tejada and, continued it along while she was out of town. When she came back, she's helping me again, thank God. But the bottom line is that, I tend to hold on to things and nurture them over a long period of time. So you have to think about like what things don't make sense anymore. So if I want to run Social Media Breakfast, I can't do everything else, if that makes sense. And so I've added things over the years as my team has grown. But at first, if you're going to create content, don't think, oh, I'm going to have to post every day, 3 times a day. That's not going to work for you. You can think, I can post. Well, first of all, I'm going to say the biggest thing is you have to have a piece of content that you put out, either a video or a blog post, or it could be, something longer like a LinkedIn post. But I'm going to promise you, you're going to want to over time have a place that you are creating content, like your website somewhere, or, something like this. So all of my videos, for example, I have them on a website, and I also have them on YouTube, and I have them in playlists, and I have places I share them. So you want to make sure that this is your content. This is your like mind trust. For example, Madeline Sklar and I are actually going back. We went back to our Communities That Convert podcast, 2 years of podcasts, and we're turning that into a book. Like we're working on that right now. And we're going to do some really cool stuff to add to that. But the point is this content is like bedrock for you for like all of your career. You're going to go back to it. You're going to pull it out. You're going to use it again. You're going to be able to write books with it. You're going to be able to create new content with it or products with it, maybe a course or a whatever. So my point is that this content is so important for you. That's why you have to make it your priority. Okay, so let me go on. So that is the Eisenhower matrix. You can take a screenshot of it if you want. I just put my to-dos on there, but you would need to put yours. Obviously, yours are going to be very different than mine, but that's how it goes. The next thing that I want to show you is step 2, which is to create a SOP and set up a content creator. What's an SOP, Cami? That is, your operating instructions, basically. So you want to put together your operating instructions for your business. So what is the pathway you take to get your content out? The reason why it's important for you to write it all out and put it somewhere is because someday people are going to take pieces of that process for you. And you're going to sit down with them and you're going to try to teach them your process. And if you haven't written it down, it's going to be hard. I know I remember I sat down with Tracy the first time and we went through my entire process, and I kept missing steps because there were just things that I did and it just kind of came naturally. But now, so on my team, Devana takes care of everything for Social Media Breakfast to get it started. I do write the promo, but she puts all of it together into a file for me. She gets all the information from the speakers. She runs all the speaker part of it, like telling them where to go, how to get there, what to do. So all of those things are like in a standard operating procedure, SOP, standard operating procedure. And you want those written out so that way you can then get those things out to other people. Because I think a lot of times you think, I don't even know what I'd give people to do because I do this thing and it's all in my head. Well, you have to get it out of your head. So that would be step 1. Get that out of your head. Well, I said it's step 2 because 1 is getting that white space. So step 2 is doing that. And then setting up what I called a content generator. That is a place where you're going to keep all of the information that you have so that you can just put it together. So we have it in ClickUp. You can put it in a Trello board. You can put it into a spreadsheet. We have a spreadsheet that we use for our Smart Social Mastery students. I have a membership for coaches and consultants, like PR and marketing coaches and consultants, because again, we have to make our business our number 1 client. We have to do that. And so I've put together some resources for my membership people to do that, but you can do it easily. Just, create a spreadsheet, have a Trello board with like different buckets in it. We use ClickUp because we are using it for a number of people. So that's how it goes. That's step two. And I'm just going to show you, this is take me out of here so you can see it. This is my content generator that we run in my business. This is on ClickUp. You're seeing this, but you see we have a bucket for each thing. So we come up with our resources and then we have ideas. We move the cards from time to time. Here we are right now. This is what we're doing right this moment. This is what made me finally consistently create content. So you'll see this in a minute. You'll see this, you just saw that. That's the Eisenhower matrix. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it over here to the blog. And so what's going to happen is that this is going to become a live stream. And then my team picks it up. We create a blog post for it. And then we put it on social media. And then it goes into this really cool thing called In Case You Missed It. And this is my evergreen pile. So my goal is to have at least an entire year's worth of evergreen content in here. So if there is a week that I'm not really talking or whatever, that we promote something that week. So that is sort of how that works. So just giving you an idea, ClickUp, Trello, or Google Sheets is a really great way to do it. Yeah. Thank you. Oh gosh. Yeah. This is so good. I think yeah, you're my LinkedIn user. So I know who this is, but ask your work wife principle, work yourself out of your current job by making an SOP as you go, then train the new person and you can move up. Yes. Yes. This is 100% what you want to do. I'm assuming this is Vanessa. Hi. So love your insights and application. Yes. SOPs can free you from mundane. So you can be thinking about the next big thing, which is clients or whatever. Like, you may have something that you want to do that's amazing that you don't feel like you have time for. Well, you have to free yourself up. Like my Smart Social Mastery membership class. I've been wanting to do that for years, but I didn't really have time. I wasn't sure how to get it done. I had to make space for myself to put it together. And I had a lot of people coming to me and saying, would you, mentor me? And would you do this? And would you do that? And so I knew that people wanted me to put it together. So I couldn't do it though, guys, until I actually made the space. And that's how I did it. And the same thing for this kind of stuff. We work on this. Like I have somebody take this, and I have my friend Andrea, who's an amazing writer. She takes this live stream and turns it into a blog post for our website. I don't do that. I'm very good at writing. I'm very good at making blog posts. But if I take the 2 hours or hour and a half or whatever it is to put that together, that's time I cannot spend on something else. That is time I cannot spend on something else. So yes, I can do it. Yes, I'm good at it. Yes, I had my blog was in the top 10 of all blogs for PR and marketing for years. But this is the way I'm running this. This is my flywheel. This video runs everything else in my business. I have to do these videos or then I don't have content. So I only have to do this once a week. And by the way, if I do this consistently, I consistently have people say, oh my gosh, I see you everywhere. I see you everywhere. I do one live stream per week. And then of course, social media breakfast, which is a big deal, but that took 15 years to build. So, but how did I do that? 1 month at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 month at a time. And we have a standard operating procedure. Haha. Exactly. Yes. Thank you for being my hype girl today. I appreciate you so much. So this is the deal, guys. You can't just say because I do it and I do it well, I have to be the one that's doing it. You do not have to be the one that's doing it. So if that frees you, say amen. If that frees you, say amen. It's hard for me too. I don't like giving it up either. I'm like, I can do this. Of course you can do it. That's why you're where you're at right now. But guess what? You're also employing other people when you do this, which is a really good thing in this economy. Like employ other people. Everybody needs a job. And some people love to do these things. Okay. So step 3, let's move on. Crush your fear, overwhelm, and obligation with accountability. So if you're all up in your feelings about your content, which by the way, it's super easy to get up all in your feelings about content because it feels heavy. It feels like people might be judging you. It feels like you're overwhelmed. There's too much to do. Like you just want to put your head under the pillow and you want to go to sleep. Trust me, I've been there. And then also you have that obligation feeling, well, I have to do this. Well, the way that you can break this, honestly, is with accountability to yourself and to others. And one of the ways that I do it is I have an accountability with my team, of course, which is great. The other reason to hire people is because then they're expecting you to do stuff and you have to do it. And you're like, oh, and they're asking you, are you going to do that live stream this week? And you're like, yes, no. So you have to, you're accountable to people. We have Smart Social Mastery, our group, because it's an accountability group. By the way, the people in that group are PR, marketing, and consultants and consultants and coaches. Like, they're good at this. They all know how to make content. They all understand that they are supposed to make content, but they're not making content. But why? Because they need to have accountability. For me, if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. If I haven't made a commitment to it, it's not happening. I kind of work to deadlines. I'm really much better at working to deadlines than anything else. I don't know about you. You know how you work, but I'm a deadline kind of gal. If you give me a good deadline, I'm likely to do it. But if I don't have a deadline, I'm likely to put it off. I don't know about you. But here's my calendar. I just took a picture of this week's calendar, guys. This is what my calendar looks like. Okay. And I just wanted to show you this because it's like showing your underwear to people. I'm sorry, but it is. I put blocks of focus time in to my calendar. I put these in here so I have that white space to create the content I need to create, catch up on things, do the things I need to do. That's one. And you'll see people are kind of like in it. I even put my lunch hours in here because I was finding that I was not eating lunch much. So I needed to be careful with that. Here's another content creation block. I can meet with Tracy at that time. Tracy does run my content generator, so we often talk about that. That's happening right after the mastery moment, which is part of our Smart Social Mastery group. And then I'll take lunch. And then you see here, I'm making that book with Madeline. And I put travel time in because, by the way, I have to go to different events. I had an event with Rohit Bhargava on, I spelled his name right too, right there, but on Tuesday. And so I know I needed some time to travel there. So I put everything in here, guys, everything. And my workout times are in here, my focus time, my time with Andrea, who, by the way, writes our blog posts, one of our clients here, time with them. And you see it all. It's all here. Then do you see this right now? This is right now. We're here right now in my week. Do you see this whole focus time? After we're done with this, I'm going to get off this video and I'm going to spend the rest of this time today putting together my plan for the next week for this live stream. So that's the idea. We're going to be like giving ourselves some white space. My calendar's packed, but also I'm giving myself time. It's really important. And then this Friday is social media breakfast, our coffee. We do a Zoom call on these days. So anyway, I'm just showing you my calendar because I'm just saying you have to put this stuff in your calendar. You have to. So, and you can put it wherever you want to. You can see I spend a lot of time with my content creation and also with planning. A lot of those times too, the focus times I'll use on doing the client work that I'm supposed to do, because some of the client work I'm supposed to do, I try to get my client work in during those times. And then I work with my team. They're doing most of the client work. My team does most of my client work at this point in time because I'm empowering them, teaching them, training them to do that so that I can then go out and get more clients. And also so that I can think about my clients, so that I can put on my strategic brain and spend some time thinking about what should they be doing next? What should we be doing next? That's so important. And when I find that I don't have that time, or those times get compressed and I eat up those free times with like meetings or something, I always regret it. Always, because then there's just not time. All right. So that's the idea for getting time. And then step 4, my last idea is, are you uninspired? Not sure what to post? Well, I say this, you need to create a brand voice for yourself. What does that mean? So you hear about personas. I'm a marketer, right? I'm a PR and marketing person. So I think about when I'm doing work for my clients, I want to talk in the voice of my clients. We want to post how they would sound. So we always create a brand voice for our client. We always create like, what is the voice of this client and how are we going to be posting for this client? What does it sound like? What do they do? So we put this brand voice together and we put it together. But guess what? I also put a brand voice together for me, for myself. You need your own brand voice to be defined. Why? Because guess what? If your brand voice is defined, other people can write for you and sound like you. They can. And I have them do it too. And now with AI on the scene, I mean, you can take this brand voice, put it in an AI and say, write a promo about this, this, and this, and in this brand voice. Having that brand voice nailed down is really critical. And guess what? You probably will never nail it down unless you take time to do it. I have an entire brand voice process that we're going to be going through like pretty soon. Actually, it's coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm going to try to put this uh, in the chat. You can grab a spot in the fall brand voice. I don't think this goes into LinkedIn, but I think I did put it in LinkedIn earlier as a comment. So if you're watching this in LinkedIn, just go down to the comments. You'll see that I put our brand voice workshop there. Click on that, sign up for that brand voice workshop. Take that hour out of your schedule. It's like in 2 weeks. Yeah, November 13th. And it's like at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. So it's kind of at the end of the day. Come and do this brand voice workshop with us. It's free. And at the end, you walk away with your brand voice nailed down so that you can use it to hire other people to help you. So let me help you help you. I would love to do that. I'd love to get to know you and meet you. And many of you I know already, but if you haven't been to the brand voice workshop yet, I would just, really encourage you to come. If you've been before, come back. We'll work it out again. The funny thing about your brand voice is it's always evolving, right? So you're free to come back and try it again and like maybe like just tweak it a bit. So the brand voice workshop is coming up, but no matter what, you need to think about who you're trying to reach, what problems are you trying to solve, and who are you trying to help. That's really important. All those three things are part of your brand voice. So there you go. Custom GPTs, yes, and that is 100% true. So that's the thing. I built it, by the way. Thank you for like saying that. I've built a custom GPT for brand voice, and everybody in my Smart Social Mastery group gets that as part of their membership. But we also do it like right here. So I'm walking you through how to do it inside of AI. So that's what we do during the brand voice workshop. I actually have you um, crank up your AI, and we walk through the entire brand voice workshop through the AI. And then you can take what you did there and, by the way, make yourself a custom GPT with it. It's really cool. So there you go. That is true. And also the other thing about a custom GPT, and there's another thing you can do too. It's called Notebook LM. You can make one of these in something called a Notebook LM, and then that doesn't go into like ChatGPT. So if you're worried about like, I don't want to put all my stuff into ChatGPT, I know some people are worried about that. Although you can actually go into your settings in ChatGPT and tell it not to train on your data. I'll show you guys that at another one of these. And but you can go to Notebook LM and you can upload everything into Notebook LM, and then Notebook LM becomes like a workspace with all of that information in it, including like maybe the brand voice that you made. You can upload that into Notebook LM as well. So that there's two there. So if you like Gemini, you can go Notebook LM. That's Google. And if you like ChatGPT and you have like a account, you can go custom GPT. And if you join Smart Social Mastery, I've already built it for you. I've built a couple of other custom GPTs also for our members, and I'll continue to do that because I'm a AI geek and I kind of am playing around with it right now. So anyway, that is it. So those are the things, guys. If you're uninspired, that is what I suggest, that you create a brand voice for yourself so that it makes it easy for you to create content ideas. So once you have a brand voice, creating content ideas becomes extremely easy. And again, I would love to have you at the brand voice workshop. If you're wherever you're at, the bit.ly link is down there. It is case sensitive. You have to do it exactly like you see it there, or you can just scan the QR code. It'll take you straight there. And that's the date and the time. I would love to have you there. So please join us for that in a couple of weeks. And by the way, you are not going to be like, don't like beat yourself up by the fact that you haven't done a lot of content creation. Oh my gosh, I should be posting. I should be this. I should. The shoulds, don't should on yourself, as some people say. Don't should on yourself, because those shoulds are not going to get you to the final goal. You need to have a plan. I want to help you have a plan. And one of the ways to have a plan is to have your brand voice nailed down, and then we can easily create content for you. Like it's almost becomes effortless at that point. So please come and please look at those 4 tips I already said. Put this on your calendar. If you don't want to come to my thing, I don't care, but that's fine. But just take some sort of action and let me know in the comments what action you're going to take. I know some of you are already doing a lot of content creation, especially the ones that are watching. Thank you. having a podcast is a really important one. So ask your work wife. You, by the way, I'm just going to promote that real quick. You need to go find this. This is a great Ask Your Work Wife podcast. Go do that, especially if you're working in corporate America. It's amazing. So if you're listening to this and you're like a corporate America person and you're like, oh, I've got to figure this out, go check that out because Ask Your Work Wife is all about accountability too. You want to definitely listen to that. So that being said, also, I'll be back here next week, same time, same good channel. And also, if you're wanting to be part of our social media breakfast and come there, just let me know. I'll give you a link. Just put it in the comments. I'll send you a link to our coffee. We do a Zoom coffee for social media breakfast on the fourth Friday of the month, and we do the live event on the second Friday of the month, which is also live streamed here. And that's coming up, and that's going to be really good too, because we're going to be talking about a customer journey and how to have one and how to put one into place, which is kind of goes with this too. Like once you get them in, you have the content going, like where do you send them from there? That's what social media breakfast is going to be about in 2 weeks. So let me know if you're interested in social media breakfast coffee. I will send a link. And that's it, guys. I hope you have an amazing day. And you know what? I forgot to play my intro, so I'll play it on the way out. Sound good? All right, here we go. Take care. Bye.